بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We hope and we pray that everyone is doing well inshallah ta'ala tonight. Thank you all for tuning in inshallah ta'ala, and we have a beautiful dua for you bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. This dua comes to us, it is narrated in Sunan al-Tirmidhi and Sunan Imam Ahmad in the Musnad, in which the Prophet ﷺ, it is recorded that a man comes up to him. So the narrator of this hadith is Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and he says that a man came up to the Prophet ﷺ, and he says, I heard you last night that you made a dua, but I only heard these three phrases. Now after he said the three phrases, the Prophet ﷺ asked the man, وَهَلْ تَرَكْنَا مِنْ شَيْءٍ, did they leave anything out? And of course the man said no. Which means whatever you think that you missed, this dua, all three, huh? Oh, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, okay. Sorry. So the man, he said there's nothing, they didn't leave anything out, right? So in the hadith, basically this dua is a comprehensive dua. Additional to this, I think it's very relevant to us living in the age of the coronavirus and COVID-19 and everything like this, and being cooped up in the home, because the dua actually pertains to our homes and to how we live in our homes and so on and so forth. So what is the dua? This dua, inshallah ta'ala, is just three parts. There's just three phrases to this dua that the man heard the Prophet ﷺ make, and then the Prophet ﷺ actually told him they didn't leave anything out, which tells us that this dua is a comprehensive dua. Here is the dua, inshallah ta'ala. He says, Allahumma ghfir li dhanbi wa wassi' li fi rizqi. I'm sorry, this is not the dua. He says, the dua is, Allahumma ghfir li dhanbi wa wassi' li fi dari. He says, in the narration that I have, actually he says, wa wassi' li fi dari wa barik li fi rizqi. So he says to him, oh Allah, forgive me my sins. And then in the narration that I have, actually, I think there was a miscommunication. It says, وَوَسِّعْ لِي فِي دَارِي, and expand for me my home. This dua, he says, and expand for me my home. And then he says, وَبَارِكْ لِي فِي رِزْقِي. So he says, oh Allah, forgive me my sin, expand for me my abode, which is, you know what I mean, my home. And then barik, put blessing, put barakah in my sustenance. These three phrases, of course, combine almost everything that a person needs. Number one, forgiveness of sins. This is to maintain success in this life and in the next. And then number two, he says, and expand for me my abode. وَوَسِّعْ لِي فِي دَارِي. This is a dua that I think is very needed in this day and age when we're cooped up at home and we're staying at home all day. The home can feel very, you know what I mean, tight and constraint upon us. Where in reality, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in the home, then we'll feel like the home is an entire universe. That it's actually not constrained. That it's not something that's tiny, that's not something that is choking us where I feel like I can't breathe and I feel like I can't live, etc. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in this. The reality is, you know what I mean, how big or how small your house is a perception of the mind, and it's not necessarily a function of the house. Suffice it to say that there's these people that live in a tiny apartment and they're completely content and happy. There's people that live in a huge mansion and are completely miserable. And of course the opposite is true. But I'm saying that there are people who are opposite of what a person might think and might assume. And this is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put barakah for them in their livelihood, put barakah for them in their homes, and they feel like their home has everything that they need. Not only this, but another element is that when he says وَوَسِّعْ لِي فِي دَارِي, expand for me my abode, my home. Our homes here in the dunya are temporary. We're only in these homes for a few years. And then after this, either we move to a different home, we move to a different apartment, or eventually we die and someone else inherits the home, and then eventually it might get sold and someone else lives there. The fact is, the only reason we live where we live is because someone else, passed away and left it for us. Someone was here before us, someone was here before them, etc., etc. And so when it comes to the homes, the true home, therefore, is the home of the hereafter. In fact, even before the hereafter, there's the home in the grave. That's why when he says, وَوَسِّعْ لِي فِي دَارِي, expand for me my abode, this can also pertain to the grave. That we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to expand for us our graves. Because we know that the grave will either be completely constrained and narrow upon the person, or completely as far as the eye can see, completely expanded, where the person feels free. The reality is, freedom is a construct. It's not necessarily a physical thing. Meaning a person could be incarcerated, physically in chains, but his mind is free. I would call that freedom. And there's a person whose mind is not free, and they're not able to think clearly, following the truth wherever it leads him, etc. But physically he can go wherever he wants. Which one of these two is free? Obviously we know which one of them is. And this is why there's a perception of freedoms taken away, and then there's a perception of freedom, actual freedom, and what it actually means. And if we contemplate upon this, inshallah ta'ala, Allah will become apparent and inshallah ta'ala clear. So the second phrase is وَوَسِّعْ لِي فِي دَارِي, and then the last part is وَبَارِكْ لِي فِي رِزْقِي, and Ya Allah, put barakah, bless for me my sustenance. And like we've said many times before, barakah is this notion of Allah increasing the effectiveness of whatever He gives us, that we're able to utilize it so much. Allah can put barakah in time, He can put barakah in wealth, He can put barakah in food, He can put barakah in your home, He can put barakah in your spouse, barakah in your children, barakah in so many things. The reality is, barakah is this unknown element that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps and assists the person in their life, inshallah ta'ala. And so we're asking Allah to put barakah in that which He has provided for us. So if Allah provides for us, then we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase His providing for us, and inshallah ta'ala put more barakah in everything that we do, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Again, the dua is, Allahumma ghfir li dhanbi, O Allah, forgive me my sins, وَوَسِّعْ لِي فِي دَارِي, and expand for me my home, وَبَارِكْ لِي فِي رِزْقِي, and put barakah in my rizq, in my sustenance. Like we said, this hadith, it is narrated that the man, he asked the Prophet ﷺ and he wanted to confirm, and then the Prophet ﷺ said, yeah, what else did they leave out? They didn't leave out anything. You know what I mean? Your home, your livelihood, these are the things that we worry about, and of course forgiveness of sins for success, inshallah ta'ala, in the hereafter. They did not leave out anything. This is why, inshallah ta'ala, we hope that this dua will be beneficial. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He expands for us our homes. That our homes, inshallah ta'ala, are not constrained upon us. That we feel like this home can actually, accommodate us, has everything that we need. And this is why, the Prophet ﷺ, he says that if a person goes to bed, safe, he has safety. He has a comfortable bed to sleep. He has a roof over his head. He has enough food. Then he has been given the entire dunya and everything that it contains. Because in reality, that's all the person needs. And wallah, if we find and if we search ourselves, we'll find that we have exactly everything that we need, and that our ill content or is perhaps due to something else that we should look for. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us and guides us, and that He puts barakah in our time and in our homes and in our families, and that He, inshallah ta'ala, forgives us our sins and enters us into Jannah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khairan, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.